I'm gonna find out what I can about the siphon, but just don't do anything crazy before I get anything, okay? The Brotherhood are some dangerous fucking people. They're, sick in the head. You gotta know what you're up against. Look, these Brotherhood guys, they don't kid around. I ain't lying to you. They need the darkness in the worst way. Think. God damn it, I can't think straight.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you about this particular relic, but you gotta promise me something. No matter what I tell you, you can't let this get weird, okay? Okay. This is the Reliquary of the Blessed Blood. It is said to contain a relic of untold worth, an object of unfathomable holiness, a preserved piece of flesh from the Messiah himself. Yes, that's right. We're talking about the foreskin of Jesus Christ. Except, here's the thing. There is someone's foreskin inside this reliquary. It just didn't belong to the holy member. It actually belonged to a guy named Miles from South Hamiltonshire. Don't ask how I know this. I just do. I'm an occultist, all right? Just forget about the foreskin. The foreskin is a distraction. There was nothing important about the foreskin, and we should both just forget it ever happened. Moving on. The container is what's so important here, okay? See, the darkness isn't the only power the Brotherhood wants to harness. They're just as interested in the Angelus. This reliquary was their first attempt to create a vessel that could hold the Angelus. It was a total failure. All it did was piss off the Angelus, and when she's pissed, she does like to burn things. Still, there's dark magic in here. Magic best hidden from certain people. And turning it into a impossibly ridiculous foreskin holder was a good way to do that. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go scrub my memory with bleach and steel wool. Holy shit, Jackie, this is big. This is really big. You know how the siphon of the Angelus was designed to hold the darkness? Well, this is the Prism of the Brothers, and it's meant to hold the Angelus. After the darkness escaped the siphon, the Brotherhood vanished for a long time. So long, in fact, it was believed that they disbanded. But no, the siphon of the Angelus had been lost to them. Without it, they couldn't make good on their plan to shroud the world in darkness. Instead, they decided to burn the world with light, so they built this. When the darkness and Angelus re-emerged during World War II, the Brotherhood was waiting for them. Don't ask me how, because I sure as hell got no idea, but the Brotherhood defeated the Angelus, trapping her inside the prison. Okay? Where, according to legend, she remains today. But here's the thing, Jackie. I'm looking at this prism right now, and I'm not picking up a thing. No holy essence, no dark magic, nothing. The Angelus is not inside the prism. In fact, it never even touched it. If I can be honest, this scares the living fuck out of me. The Angelus has not been seen on our world in 70 years. We thought it was because she was trapped in this, but she's not, Jackie. She's still out there. Where the fuck is she? You know, Jackie, this thing inside of you, the darkness, to you, it's a curse, but not everyone sees it that way, It's like that old saying, one man's curse is another man's, gimme. You know, I mean, that's a stupid way to think, obviously. The darkness is the possessor, not the possession. But stupid people do stupid things, which is why many of them have tried to steal the darkness over the years. Lucky for you, I guess, these attempts usually don't go very far. Take this relic, for instance. Over time, it has earned the name the Fool's Phylactery. If you ever played D&D as a kid, and looking at your muscles, I will assume you did not. You'd know that a phylactery is like a Tupperware for souls. It keeps them safe, fresh, unspoiled. It also doesn't fucking exist! Nowhere in all the black arts is there such a thing as a phylactery. See, the Fool's Phylactery is a hoax perpetrated by a monk back in the 1600s. He'd has his fill of religion and was looking to cash out, so he crafted this fancy container, forged some ancient scrolls, then sold it to the first rube he could find. That idiot tried to catch the darkness and got eaten instead. You'd think that would be the end of it, but no. 400 years and countless dead later, this shit is still going on. People are fucking idiots. This is why I live in a box, under a bridge. This is, well, it's a thumbscrew. I don't really know what else to tell you. I mean, this thing is definitely giving off dark energy. But again, we're talking about a device that was used to torture people by slowly crushing their fingers. I'd be scared if it wasn't giving off nasty vibes. What? You want more? Sure. Just give me a second. Okay, I got something. From what I can divine, this thing goes back like 400 years. It was used on a host who was imprisoned by the Brotherhood. Chances are that dark energy I'm picking up is a taint left by the darkness. Meaning this isn't just any thumbscrew, it's an evil thumbscrew, so it hurts more. Maybe. Oh, that's still not enough. Okay, fine. This is the infamous Black Thumb. In 1631, it single-handedly ripped and raped its way across the English countryside, leaving behind a trail of bloody bastards and broken dreams. Never has the world seen such carnage. Pray it never will again. Yes, I am being sarcastic. No, I don't want you to kill me. Okay, I'll shut up now. You can't tell by looking at it, but this simple strip of iron is one of the worst torture devices ever devised. It's one of the 12 infamous purification rituals used by the Brotherhood the first time they ever tried to steal the darkness. The Brotherhood simply referred to it as the Fourth, but over time it earned the name the Silent Night. It's easy to see why. Long time ago, the Brotherhood stole a darkness host at birth. They then raised him as one of their own, only to torture and kill him in an attempt to force the darkness out. This strip was forced into that unfortunate host's mouth, keeping it open. It was then wrapped around his jaw, leaving a slit where his tongue was inserted. The gag was then slowly tightened. The first thing it did was slice off the host's tongue, but then the gag was tightened further, and it completely shattered and dislocated his jaw. You think that's horrible? Keep in mind, the host had yet to manifest the darkness. He didn't know what he was. The Brotherhood had raised him since birth to believe he was one of their own. Imagine, the only family you've ever known, subjecting you to the most painful, degrading acts they can imagine, and they don't even tell you why. I don't want to sound like I'm going soft, but it seems to me like that'd be the worst torture of all. Anyway, the darkness manifested right as the host's jaw snapped. They say it killed every person within a league of the Brotherhood's monastery that day. Then, the host vanished, never to be seen again. Hell, we don't even know his name. Wow, okay, shit, where do I start? What you got here is the first. As you can guess by its name, this thing goes way back, like way back to the beginning. You're a good Catholic boy, so I know you remember the story of Cain and Abel, how Abel was like, oh, God loves me, and Cain was like, jealousy, wham, and killed him with this. That's right, you're the new proud owner of murder stick number 1, so congrats, I guess. Now, the story goes that God was so pissed that he marked Cain, set him walking the earth forever, unable to die, but that's only half true. See, Cain brought murder into our world, back in when it was, still new and teeming with free-range evil. This made him a target for certain dark influences, if you catch my emphasis. Even if Cain was a brother-murdering jackass, God wasn't gonna let the darkness run a train on him, so he made Cain unkillable. As you know, the darkness deals in death. If Cain couldn't die, the darkness couldn't take him. Not a bad move on God's part. But God doesn't just hand out free prizes, especially for murdering your brother. So he set Cain to a task, cleaning up all that leftover darkness from before creation. Unfortunately for Cain, unkillable did not mean immortal, but that's a different story altogether. Jackie, let me introduce you to Enoch, great-great-great-great-grandson of Adam, great-grandfather to Noah, and the only guy who knows how many angels can dance on the head of a pin. I'm sure he'd say hi, but as you can see, he's dead. Enoch's a special guy. If not for him, we'd only know a teeny-tiny little smidgen of what we do about heaven, hell, and all those weebly-wobbly bits in between. How did he learn all this stuff? Well, if you read the Bible, it says that Enoch walked with God. What does that mean? Fuck if I know! I don't know, the Bible doesn't say, it just says, poof, no more Enoch. Next verse. This is why I don't read the Bible. I do, however, read the secret histories. And it's there that we learn Enoch actually ascended to heaven, where he apparently took some night classes, because the next time we see him, he's back on Earth, busy being the world's foremost expert on all things occult and supernatural. Do you know how many other people have been invited to heaven just for a visit? 0! Seriously, they loved him up there. So much, in fact, that upon his death, a heavenly host descended from the clouds simply to inscribe his skull with the language of angels. That's the markings you see. No one has ever been able to decipher them. But when the skull is placed in absolute darkness, the markings emit a faint singing noise, which is kind of a cool thing. Okay. Jeez. First off, holy shit. Second, do you know what these are? These are Afand Hemah. That ring any bells? No? Okay. Well, then let me put it this way. There are 6 angels of death. You are currently holding 2 of them. Yeah. Okay. Their names are Afand Hemah. Roughly, they translate to wrath and anger. It was on the 7th level of heaven that God bound Afand Hemah with chains of fire and shadow, which was no small feat, mind you. These weren't your run-of-the-mill chubby cherubs. You know, the Afand Hemah were roughly the size of a large volcano and packed 10 times the firepower, all right? Then again, God being God, I guess it wasn't really a fair fight, but whatever, I'm getting off topic, okay? As the story goes, the Angelus asked God for a weapon to aid her war against the darkness. God was in a giving mood that day, so he reforged Afand Hemah into the flames of creation, all right? Tempering them down into blades. These blades, these, right here. Now, some say the angels are still alive within the blades, and I tend to agree. Try all you like, but you can't separate them. No. Try taking only one of them out of this room. It might slip out of your hand, or you might just drop dead of a stroke. Now, you never know, but they will not be parted. We're talking peanut butter and jelly, ham and cheese level of commitment here, man. Somewhere, somehow, Afand Hemah are still bound by the chains of fire and shadow. Ah, the Crescent of the Sun, considered by many to be the greatest mystery and biggest letdown of the past millennium. You know, if you don't count Rocky V. The Crescent was wielded by the Angelus approximately 800 years ago for half an hour. She claimed it was forged from a single drop of the sun's flame, that it would bring about the final end of the darkness. What she forgot to mention, however, is how the Crescent would do this, which is important because she never got a chance to use it. Carrying it into battle against the darkness, she was immediately disemboweled. A bit anticlimactic for sure, but it only gets worse. A few years later, the Crescent was rediscovered by a holy warrior. Once again, the blade was wielded against the darkness. This time, it even managed to get a few good swings. But you know what? The blade passed through the darkness, like a knife through water. Later, after monks recovered the Crescent from the warrior's corpse, it was tested against multiple targets. Turns out the blade passes through all matter. People, stone, trees, kittens, just whoosh, goes right through. No harm, no foul. Could be only the Angelus can wield the Crescent, but if so, why has she never tried to reclaim it? Personally, I think the Angelus talked a big game, but was just as surprised as everyone else when the Crescent turned out to be worthless. Which begs the question, where did the Crescent come from? I got no idea, but I hope she kept the receipt. Okay, I'm looking at this and what I'm seeing is the Chime of Deliverance. But, and mind you, this is a small but, all records of the chime say it was destroyed along with Solomon's temple back in 586 BC. That said, records have been wrong in the past, so who knows? Maybe it's the real thing. The chime first dates back to the 40-year war, that period of time when Moses and the Israelites fought the darkness in the wilderness. The chime wasn't designed to be a weapon. Instead, it was an instrument of safe passage. According to the secret histories, the chime was carried ahead of Moses' army and struck every 153 steps. Now, any army in history would tell you that ringing a bell nonstop is a bad idea. That's how your enemy finds you. Thing is, the darkness is no ordinary enemy, and the chime is no ordinary bell. You're in the mob. The mob is Italian. Italian's like opera, right? Well, you know how an opera singer can shatter glass by singing a certain note? Well, the Chime of Deliverance does the same thing, except instead of glass, it shatters darkness. The exact pitch has never been identified, but when struck, the chime emits a sound that can physically push back the night. Now, if you want, we can test the chime's authenticity. We just gotta hit it, you know, make it sing. But, and this is a much larger but. A but of epic proportions, really. It might disintegrate you. Just saying. Think back to your high school history class. Wait, did you even go to high school? You know what, forget it. I don't want to argue, nor do I want you to punch me in the face. So I'll just catch you up to speed on some stuff I'm sure you already know. The lost colony of Roanoke was a British colony off the coast of what we now call North Carolina. As the name implies, it disappeared. Okay, the colony, not the island. 115 people just whoosh, gone. Okay, goodbye. To this day, no one knows what happened to them. Well, no one except for me and every other supernatural junkie on the planet. See, the darkness was first carried to North America by one of the colonists, and where the darkness goes, its enemies follow. One of those enemies, the Angelus, came to a nearby tribe of Croatoan natives. Influenced by the Angelus, a Croatoan maid slipped into the colony under cloak of night and massacred the colonists in their sleep. This is the weapon she used, Roanoke's Bane. But the Angelus had been mistaken. The darkness was not in Roanoke, as it was being carried by the colony's leader, John White. John was back in England, procuring more supplies. When he returned to find Roanoke deserted, the darkness knew the Angelus had been there. Unfortunately for the Croatoans, the Angelus had already moved on. They were defenseless when the darkness fell upon them, much like the colonists had been. Fair's fair, I suppose.